Meeting my Filipina wife's family. What was it like meeting my wife's family? Was it awkward? Was it weird? Nerve-wracking? Actually, it was very pleasant. I've heard stories and advice about meeting the Filipino parents, many of them not good. As I've mentioned in other videos, I am in an LDR with my wife. I live in America. She still lives in the Philippines. I stay there, or I go back there a couple of months out of the year. And I was wondering, before I even met her, I was wondering if they were feeding her advice or things to ask me while we were on a video call, because I've heard about that too, because we met online, and I plan on making a future video about that as well in the future. But I've also heard horror stories about guys coming over to meet somebody and that person flaked on them. I could say I had that experience just before I met her, because I was talking to somebody and I was talking to them for about a year, and but then when I actually had concrete plans of coming over, next thing you know, I got ghosted. All right, so and that brings up something else. I would say give for advice for anybody else who's talking to someone online. I would say don't talk to anybody online unless you know you're going over there in the next 90 days. All right. Because if you don't, honestly, you will start developing feelings for people. You get all that attention, you hear all the sob stories. Next thing you know, you're sending money, and then she's probably getting money from who knows how many other people. But I would say if you are talking to somebody online, make sure you are doing it with the expectation that you plan on going over in the next couple of months. All right, but basically for me though, other stories, they say that if you next the whole family is probably meeting you at the airport, and then you got to pay for the party and all of that stuff. That wasn't my experience. When I first met her in person, it was her child and her older sister, so I had already got to my condo, and stuff like that, and was getting things checked out, and then they came over, we talked, we chatted for a couple of hours, stuff like that. Make sure, because talking to someone on the phone or even online or even with a video call is still totally different than actually meeting that person in person. So we clicked, and the next day we went out to the mall, / grocery store to get some provisions, because I didn't have anything in there. And I found her to be quite funny. She was patient, and she had a lot of questions. And I'll say this as I'm thinking about it, dating a younger woman over there with little experience, and maybe if you're the type of guy, you're older and you've dated a younger woman, then maybe you can maybe agree that dating a younger woman, I think it's more exhilarating than frustrating. A younger woman is easier to impress, as she hasn't seen or experienced a lot of things yet, and it's charming, it's refreshing the way I see it. So that thing about, I would say, dating a younger woman kind of gives you that new lease on life. It's a breath of fresh air. And just in my experience, most older women, especially in the West, they've had more experience than you have as a guy, and they usually have the emotional baggage to go with it. They're more difficult to impress. You try to set up something, you go somewhere, you're like, oh, I've been there already. And then they want more. And I'm like, are you kidding? You want what for them old biscuits? I'm like, All right, but the young women in the Philippines, even if they're in a poor family, you'll find them to be very resourceful and hardworking and quite cunning. So, usually when you think of a younger woman, particularly in the West, they're ditzy. It's all about them. They're always on their phones. Stuff like that. You don't really find that. I haven't found that to be the experience of young women in the Philippines, especially if they're in a middling to lower social economic status. They're hardworking, they're resourceful because they have to be. And if they become a single mom at an early age, they're in survival mode, man. They're not trying to pawn off their kid to go have fun. They throw themselves into taking care of their kids. So if you meet one, usually you're finding someone who's trying to find a job, someone who's hardworking with a job, or they're working a lot around the house. But that aside, first time we went out and we came from the grocery store that day, she put away all the groceries. She wouldn't let me help. She cleaned the place, even though it wasn't that bad. I just got there, but she's still cleaning up stuff and sweeping around, and she cleaned the condo every day. She got the laundry done. She cooked. She made her brother a plate too, and you may not think that's a big deal, but it was for me, and because I've been married twice before, and none of my ex-wives really cleaned up anything. And none of them could cook. And even when I cooked, they never served me. Most of the time when I got home, there was nothing there to eat. I used to get up early. I used to be a teacher. I get up early, prep the crock pot so it'd be dinner later on. And so what I found for me is that the treatment that we get by the women when we visit other cultures, it's jaw-dropping to me. And why? Because I never got it back home, and that treatment provokes something in a man. It pushes us to that mode of protection. I know a lot of women in the West say, men don't protect us anymore. They don't look out for us. And it's like, don't really want to. You meet someone that takes care of you, you just want to take care of them, and that's usually how we are. That's why we feel like if we are good to a person, if we're good to a woman, it's like, why aren't they reciprocating? But I got that, and we want to take care of that thing that takes care of us. And I got respect from her. I got respect from, her child. The child's young. And that's, I guess maybe that's just another subject, but I'll just say right quick, a lot of people say never date or marry a single mom, and I get it. My second wife had kids already, and it really was a bad experience, and not because of the kids as much as the roadblocks placed in my way by the mom. It's the mindset of that woman in the West concerning your position in the family that makes being a stepdad difficult. As the man and a provider of the house in the Philippines, you're given a special position. However, the woman usually runs the physical home. She's the one who's cleaning, she's the one who's cooking, she does all the domestic duties, and she disciplines the kids. So a little bit different than it is in the West, or at least the way I was brought up. I don't know what you guys' experiences have been, but that's been mine. What I've seen is, my wife, she gets upset when I try to take that from her, because she feels like that's her job, because her thing is, well, you worked all day, so I really want to cater to you. So that's refreshing, but overall, I would still say the Philippines is matriarchal in this sense, and in a lot of ways it's good. The extreme side of it, though, is that I think guys growing up in that matriarchal society, though, they can be pretty petty as well. They'll be sulking, they'll lash out, and they'll be emotional. They give you the silent treatment instead of talking things out. I'm like, man, that's female behavior to me. But that's their culture. Anyway, I would still say, from what I can see, is a guy's willingness to help and take some of the load off her is still appreciated, and which is why I found out that a lot of them do like foreign men. We don't mind helping because of our own upbringing, in the West. But anyway, I finally met the rest of the family, except I think for her younger sister at a buffet restaurant. I still wound up paying for the party. It just didn't come right away. But my fiance, she was wise, and if you do have to pay for a group, man, the buffet is still the best, and it can be pretty cheap for a group, at least as cheap as we see it. I mean, if you've ever gone to like Golden Corral or something like that, you know it's like $20 or $30, you know, just for you. But how about paying $20, $30, or I think maybe max $40 for a group of 10, you know, or something like that. So, you know, our money does go a little bit further than that, so it wasn't a big deal to me. And they had a lot of questions for me, you know, all over the place. But they were actually very nice people, and their main concern was what were my intentions with their daughter. And I think that should be the main concern of any parent. You know, I've heard, again, horror stories of some parents really trying to, in a way, pimp their daughters out. But that wasn't the case. They were really tuned in and concerned. Hello, you know, who are you? How old are you? You know, and what's your intention, you know, with my daughter? So I'll say this, and other vloggers have mentioned it also, family is king over there in most families, and that family might be dysfunctional in a lot of ways, but they stick together. And if the parents don't like you, man, she'll reject you, and she doesn't care how much money you got or how you can change your life. You know, she'll go back to her home and she'll be fine. You know, struggling is what they have done, and that's how they've gotten by, and they'll continue if they got to. You know, my wife, she doesn't complain about missing the aircon when I leave, or, you know, where she doesn't talk, oh, I miss traveling around. She doesn't say any of that. She's actually content, and she asks for things that are reasonable. I mean, she's not flighty or ditzy as we expect young people to be. A lot of these young Filipinas, when they have responsibilities, they grow up quickly and they take things seriously. So it was a real eye-opener. You know, the family didn't care about our age gap. They wanted to know if I was going to take care of their daughter and not use her. They didn't care if I was a black foreigner. They appreciated my respect to them. They appreciated my respect for their family. I mean, they work hard, and the things that I do for them, they appreciate it. You know, I remember I bought my father-in-law, may rest in peace, a nice pair of sandals for his birthday. And he really liked them sandals. He just wouldn't wear them. He only wore them on special occasions. And unfortunately, he passed away last year due to a motorbike accident. But they buried him in those sandals, man. My mother-in-law, she's a hard-working lady. You know, she frets about everything, as most mothers do. That mother hen just clucking around, you know. But she never asks for anything. She just wants to know what I'm eating, how I'm doing, and she apologizes that her English is not that good, you know, but you know, she's taken care of, though, you know. So I don't know if my in-law family dynamics are rare, but as I said, I have heard the horror stories, but that has not been my experience, and I guess I'm grateful for that. I've heard that if you married a Filipina, you married a family, and that's still true. But it hasn't been that crazy expense or family members begging me for money. So I guess I'm blessed. So I guess I would just offer this advice if you plan on being with a Filipina long term. Number one, like I said before, if you're going to be talking to one of them online, then I would say make sure you're coming over. If you're not going to be coming over anytime soon, man, I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. Because you can say you're not going to send money all you want. A lot of guys say they never have. I call lie on that. Because I'm like, what you talking to her for? You know, but if you do plan on going over, I would say, you know, don't talk to any Filipino unless you're coming over in the next 3 months. And you have to vet her over time, you know, to see what she wants and see what her goals are. For the relationship, if that's what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for something else, you know, then you know, if you just want to be the manga, then yeah, there's Angeles City, there's some parts of Cebu you can go to, plenty of bar girls around. But if you're there to establish a relationship or something like that, she still has to be vetted. Give it some time. She should be, you know, a sweet person, but not docile. I mean, you know, respectful and cooperative. Submissive is one thing, but just that the doormat type. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna find that over there. I haven't seen it. They're pretty tough. She should have ambition. She shouldn't be a layabout, and you have to be careful with that too. They do have like long working hours over there. Something to be concerned about. If she's working all the time, she's not going to have a whole lot of time for you. Vet her family. If you don't get along with them, it probably is not going to work. But if they're a proud family, they're going to be working, and they're not going to be asking you for money all the time. And make sure that Filipina you're with has no problem telling her family no for you. From what I can see, again, those women are tough, they're protective, and they're territorial. And for me, as I've shown my wife that I care about her and her family, she makes sure that clear boundaries are set, so I usually don't have to say a word. But anyway, I think I went kind of long on this video. I try to keep them shorter than that, usually no longer than 10 minutes. But that's all I have to say about it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And if you have any advice or any comments, I look forward to them. Thanks for listening.